requested by a friend, I'm doing a short video on Fineliners. So, I did a little sketch here, made it easier. It's crap because, I don't know, I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like drawing anything interesting. So, to anyone who doesn't know how Fineliners work, there's a couple of really easy ways to kind of go about it. So, first and foremost, you don't need anything expensive, you don't need anything kind of serious, you know. I have the Copic ones, but you don't really need them. That's why I also have Sharpies, a dime a dozen. Honestly, I would say it's best to have both to get something a little more expensive and something a little bit cheaper, just because it's easier on you and it's easier to have like a range that if you don't have it on your budget, then you know. So what someone was asking me was, oh, I dropped my paper. What someone was basically asking was how to use a fineliner, because some people apparently don't know how to use them, and I mean that's fine. So just wanted to show a quick little skit, I guess you could say, a little video on easiest ways to go about using it. It's really not that hard. It's not rocket science. So the main reason of having a fineliner, as opposed to just sketching on using markers or pencils, a fineliner is a great way to get a good sharp outline, especially if you're doing like cartoon style art. So it is best to, where's my paper? There it is. It's just a great way to finalize your sketch, and you can see I did a little sketch here that just shows just a quick little character that I did. I'm going to outline this in just a second and show you kind of how to use it. But I also wanted to show you, I figured this out kind of on the internet because, you know, I'm broke. But this is something that in a lot of college studies, one of the first things that you're supposed to be doing is working on your line work. And this is one of the ways to do that. So you're basically just drawing a bunch of lines and circles and whatnot, and the purpose of making these things, and you can do this anytime, the whole purpose of it, as you can kind of see, there's a little blotch over here, just ignore that, but it's supposed to get you comfortable with your line work and comfortable with your drawing and, you know, how straight you want your line to be, because that's the main point. The main goal of the fineliner is your lines need to be clear, they need to be precise. They don't have to be perfect, everyone has their own style, but they do have to be purposefully placed. They don't want them to be like chicken scratch. You don't want anything that's like really rough. And do a quick example here. It's empty on the back, it is. Alright. So what I mean by chicken scratch is when you have a line that you're constantly going back and forth on, you're not actually making a straight line. And the reason that this is because you're constantly breaking your line because you're going back and forth. And that's not really how you're supposed to be using a fineliner. I mean, you know, kudos to you if you use it, but the most effective way, I don't know if I can do this, my hands are shaking, is to draw in a single straight line. And I know it seems really hard to do because when you're new to it, you know, especially if your hands are shaky, you know, like my hands are trembling at the moment, but if you have shaky hands, it's going to be really hard to get a straight line across. So that's the perfect reason why you want to start doing these. And you can do this on any scrap paper, but this is just the testing phase of getting you comfortable with a fineliner, getting you used to the lines, getting you used to, you know, drawing very long, straight lines, making sure that you're, you know, comfortable with that, drawing consistently. So it's just a good practice sheet, something like a homework thing to do. So, and then the last thing I wanted to cover before I went into actually outlining this, and I'll shut up when I outline this because I won't be able to talk and draw at the same time, The last thing I wanted to mention is size range. And this is also why I say that you need to get something like a Sharpie or a larger marker for fine lining, because some people, go bring this back, some people will draw in different lines, and sometimes that's actually a good thing. You know, if you have a stylization, you can draw in multiple line sizes and in different shapes, and you can create something that's actually really cool, and it pops a lot better if you have thicker lines in some areas and thinner lines in others. So it's good to have a range. So pros and cons to each. When you've got, this is a size 07, which means the tip is really, really tiny. I don't even know if you can see it on the camera. I don't know how well you can see that. You really can't. So, but the tip on it is really thin, and the reason that is because you can make really thin lines with it. And this is what I typically use. I typically use the 07 just because it's what's available to me, it's what I have, and I like thin, detailed lines. I'm a detail-oriented person. So then you've got your Sharpie Fineliners. I don't actually know the size of these. I'm assuming it's probably a 1, like a 1.0. It does not say. If anyone does know the size of these, I would like to know, because I am curious. It almost looks the same size, but these I know can be a little bit, you can kind of tell here, they're a little bit thicker on the Sharpie Fineliners, and that's good for, you know, rougher areas or areas that need thicker lines, like your outlining. And then lastly, you've got your fill-in. This is honestly, I use this the most in filling in black areas. Like if you've ever seen my pen character, half of her hair is completely black. I will use this. I will just use a straight black Sharpie to just fill in all of the main areas where that is. And I'll go back in with a fineliner to do the details. So you can get something very wide, or you can go like really wide. So, like I said, it's good to have a range of all three, or a wider range than that, just to be able to have some variety and be able to change up your outlining, because, you know, some people are comfortable in different types of outlining, but you do need to try all of them. You do kind of have to be a jack of all trades to know what you're good at, what you're not good at, you know, and be able to exchange them back and forth. So, for this example, I guess you could say, I'm going to be using all three, kind of trying to explain where I'm most likely to be using each piece. So yeah, enjoy.
Take me away from home. Show me all the places I've never known. And we'll chase the night, race all of these broken dreams in flight, and we'll fly. Oh, we'll fly away, away, away. Yeah, we'll fly. bound only by frozen memories. Lost in time, racing all these broken dreams tonight, and we'll fly. We'll fly away, away, away. Yeah, we'll fly. Oh, we'll fly.
Alright, and while the sun is starting to act against me, I finally finished the piece here. I'll probably go ahead and color it and post it to all of my social media if you guys want to check it out. So yeah, that is Finelining 101. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I will be able to make some more content at some point if I get off my ass and actually do some stuff. So, thank you!